The Biden administration is reportedly in talks with Iran to broker a nuclear deal. The problem is they're said to be doing without the support of the American people, but also without the support of our allies in the region, which includes Israel and Saudi Arabia. But what makes this deal so dangerous? Let's bring in our panel for today. Former Assistant Foreign Policy Advisor to Prime Minister Netanyahu, Senior Editor of the Jewish News Syndicate and host of the Caroline Glick Show, Caroline Glick, and Senior Fellow, America First Policy Institute and Newsmax contributor, Fred Fleitz. Fred, I'll start with you. What's the problem with this deal?
Well, it sounds like a good agreement, this prisoner swap, but in fact, this agreement is part of a much larger secret unwritten agreement that will allow Iran to enrich uranium to a very dangerous level, 60% uranium-235, and keep its nuclear infrastructure. And what's so appalling about that is that it has been negotiated in secret as an oral unwritten deal, so Congress can't see it. That prevents Congress from reviewing it, conducting oversight under a 2015 law that requires nuclear deals with Iran to be overseen by Congress. So essentially, the administration is claiming that there is no deal when in fact there's a very substantial and very dangerous deal.
Caroline, what stands out to you about this deal?
What stands out about this deal most importantly is that the United States is, under the Biden administration, has decided that what it wants is to enable Iran to become a nuclear armed state, but that they want Iran to delay their official entrance into the nuclear club until after the November 2024 elections, because this deal does not place any scrutiny on Iran's illicit nuclear operations. It enables them, as Fred said, to continue to enrich uranium to 60%, which is well beyond the 3.76% enrichment that they were permitted to do under the 2015 deal. They're allowed to maintain their stockpiles, which currently enable them, which make them a threshold nuclear state today. And that's just what we know. There are no inspections right now being carried out on a whole series of illicit Iranian nuclear installations. And we also don't know what we don't know. So what the administration is doing here is it's enriching Iran, giving it now $6 billion. That's more than $1 billion per hostage that Iran is supposedly going to free under this deal. That's 3 times what the Obama administration paid for U.S. hostages in 2015. So the United States is enriching Iran. It's giving them the financial means to maintain their terrorist empire, their proxy wars against Saudi Arabia and Israel through the Houthis in Yemen, Hezbollah, Hamas, Islamic Jihad around Israel and Lebanon. And so that, I mean, this is basically a statement by the Biden administration that they're pretty much done with being a credible ally to Israel and to Saudi Arabia, and what they're enabling is Iran to become a nuclear hegemon in the region.
Yeah, Fred, where did we go wrong? Because it used to be the goal was to keep them from becoming a nuclear power, and now, like Caroline's saying, it sounds like it's kind of inevitable. What went wrong?
Well, in my view, the Obama administration conceded that to Iran with the 2015 nuclear deal, which allowed Iran to continue to enrich. And as Prime Minister Netanyahu once said, the only reason Iran wants to enrich uranium is to make nuclear bomb fuel. What's going on here is that the multilateral talks that the Biden administration was involved in, they failed. So they started secret talks in May with Oman acting as an intermediary. Iran is going to get a total of $20 billion in sanctions relief. The $6 billion is just the first tranche under this secret deal. And there's other troubling aspects of it. There's no provision in this deal, according to press reporting, that will stop Iran from giving weapons to Russia, the attack drones and other weapons. It's a terrible agreement. And the only thing I can see behind it is that the Biden administration is just determined to reverse Donald Trump's withdrawal from Obama's nuclear deal. I think that's the main thing that's behind this desperate agreement.
Yeah, Caroline, Fred just mentioned Russia there, and I did want to get your thoughts on how this deal with Iran and Saudi Arabia plays with China and also Russia, of course, 4 very anti-U.S. countries.
I think that what we're seeing, we had reports last week that the United States, but just right before it came out, the hostages for cash deal, that the United States is interested in mediating a normalization agreement with Israel and Saudi Arabia. The problem is that Saudi Arabia gave essentially two main demands to the United States, conditions for allowing the United States to mediate such a deal, which is that they want the United States to commit to Saudi Arabia's security, and they want the United States to enable and to help Saudi develop nuclear energy for peaceful purposes. So the thing with both of these is that what the Saudis are actually asking from the United States is for the United States to restore its alliance with its traditional allies, first and foremost from their perspective, Saudi Arabia, because what the United States is doing with Iran is exactly the opposite. Not only are they not helping Saudi Arabia develop nuclear energy, which of course is good, but they're enabling Iran to become a nuclear armed state. So I think that that demand is really a product of what the United States is doing vis-a-vis Iran under this administration, and in relation to the security guarantees as well that the Saudis want. And so I think that really what we see here is that those negotiations may well just be a head fake. They're another subterfuge, like the subterfuge that this isn't a nuclear agreement when it is, by the administration to try to catch people off guard and to think that maybe there's some possibility of the United States under Biden returning to its strategic senses and standing with its allies instead of its worst enemy in the region and empowering that enemy. But I unfortunately don't think that the road to normalize relations between Israel and Saudi Arabia at this point goes through the United States. Unfortunately, it looks more like it goes around.
All right.
Okay. All right. Caroline Glick, Fred Fleitz, really appreciate your insights. Thank you so much.
Good to be here.
Thank you.